Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into the incredibly complex and rapidly escalating conflict in the Middle East. We're going to focus on a high-stakes standoff that honestly could change everything.
All right, so let's get right into the big question. Saudi Arabia is geared up for a fight with Iran, but the U.S. is telling them to pump the brakes. Why? Well, the answer pulls back the curtain on this whole web of competing strategies, some serious economic fears, and what is really a high-stakes endgame for the entire region. So where did this all kick off? It started with a very direct warning. Sources say Saudi Arabia sent a message to Iran through back channels that was crystal clear. Stop the attacks or we're coming into this war. This was huge. It was the first time the kingdom had ever drawn such a clear red line. Okay, so the timing here is absolutely everything. You have to look at how this played out. First, Iran's president comes out with this public apology. Seems like a good sign, right? Like they're trying to de-escalate. But then, just a few hours later, bam, more attacks. And that is what led to this really stunning public statement from the U.S., with Trump basically telling his biggest ally in the region, Saudi Arabia, to stay out of it.
So you've got to ask, why would the Saudis even hesitate? Well, jumping into this war is a massive, massive gamble for them. For one, it means their entire country is suddenly a target for Iranian missiles and drones. Then there's the internal threat, the risk of sabotage from their own Shia community in the east, which has deep ties to Iran. And on top of all that, a full-blown war could completely wreck their position as the last major economy still standing in the Gulf. It's a choice with truly devastating potential consequences. So this brings us back to the question, why would Trump stop a powerful ally from jumping into the fight? Well, it all comes down to a fundamental disagreement he has with Israel over what the ultimate goal of this war should even be. And this, right here, is where the grand strategy really comes into focus.
And wow, this slide just lays it all out, plain and simple. See, Trump doesn't actually want to destroy Iran. He wants to control it. His goal is to put in a new, friendly leadership that he can make deals with, specifically oil deals. That's why U.S. strikes have been so careful to avoid Iran's oil refineries. Israel, on the other hand, they want the whole thing gone. The regime, its infrastructure, and especially its oil industry. Completely wiped off the map.
And if you really want to get to the heart of Trump's strategy, you just have to look at this quote. He literally said it. It's not about liberation or democracy. It's about him installing a leader of his choosing, one who will serve American interests. It is a strategy of pure control, not destruction. Now, this whole strategic tug-of-war isn't happening in a vacuum. It's happening while the entire regional economy is collapsing under the weight of this conflict. And for many, the economic pain is becoming just unbearable. Just think about it. For the Gulf nations, pretty much every major pillar of their economy is completely frozen. Tourism, trade, exports, it's all ground to a halt. And foreign investment, it's getting out of there as fast as it can. These countries are basically in a state of economic lockdown. And you can see the impact immediately. With supply lines choked off, the price of gas has reportedly doubled. 100% increase. This isn't just some abstract political crisis anymore. It's a full-blown economic emergency that's hitting nations and regular people all over the world. And this pain, it's not staying contained. It's spreading like a ripple in a pond. It's hitting countries like Egypt hard because their economy depends so much on the money sent home from millions of Egyptians working in the Gulf. And you can see Saudi Arabia is already scrambling, looking for ways to get its oil out by bypassing the conflict zone entirely, maybe using Egypt's Sumad port as a new route. But even as everyone's scrambling to deal with the economic mess, there's a whole other war being fought behind the scenes. It's a shadow war of secret diplomacy and covert threats, creating this really tense two-track reality. So it's like they're playing two different games at once. On one front, you have these desperate, super-secret talks trying to find a diplomatic off-ramp to stop the fighting. But at the exact same time, there's this constant, very real threat that the whole conflict could turn inward, especially inside Saudi Arabia itself. And according to some Israeli media reports, we're starting to hear who's leading these secret diplomatic efforts. It's these three nations, Egypt, Turkey, and Oman. They're the ones working the back channels, trying to pull the region back from the brink of an all-out war. Okay, so this all leads us to the final crucial question. What is Donald Trump's ultimate plan for Iran after the war? What's his endgame? Well, the answer seems to be something that he has definitely tried before. His goal is to basically replicate what some have called the Venezuela scenario. The playbook is pretty simple, really. You force a change in leadership, you install a friendly figure, and then you secure the country's most valuable asset,
In this case, of course, that's its oil. And this isn't just some vague idea. There are already specific numbers being thrown around. The objective is reportedly a deal for 200 million barrels of Iranian oil. And suddenly, it makes perfect sense why Trump is so careful not to destroy Iran's oil infrastructure, doesn't it? He sees it as a future American asset. It's a really bold plan for sure. But, and this is a big but, it is not a slam dunk. In fact, there are two huge hurdles standing in the way of Trump's endgame. First off, he's got a legal problem right here at home. He can start military action, yeah, but eventually he needs Congress to sign off on a long-term war. And second, and this might be even more important, there's a pretty sobering assessment from his own intelligence community. The Iranian regime is just too dug in to be toppled by airstrikes alone. And this is why. A secret intelligence report, which got mentioned in the New York Times, shows that Iran still has over half of its ballistic missiles and even more of its drones. What that means is they can keep this fight going for a very, very long time. And that complicates any plans for a quick and easy victory. So we're left with this massive, high-stakes gamble. Trump is chasing a very specific outcome, but he's getting pushback from his allies, he's got legal limits at home, and he's facing an opponent that is way more resilient than anyone expected. Which leaves us with this final question. Can Trump's vision of a compliant Iran actually be achieved? Or is this conflict about to spiral into a much wider war that nobody, not even the US, can control?